Hello and welcome to our Dun Bradstreet's webinar together with our partner Serrala today. Our topic is Know Your Customer with Financial Risk Information, and I'm happy to welcome you all. My name is Romana and I'm your moderator today. I'm very happy to welcome our two experts. Andy from our partner Serrala. Hello, Andy. Good morning.
Hi.
And Daniel, my colleague from Switzerland. Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
Great to have you with us. Before we start, I have some organizational information. You all know this already. Daniel, can you switch to the second slide?
Yeah, if it would work. Yes.
Thanks. You all know this already. You are all muted, and you can write your questions in the Q&A section already during the presentation. I will collect all your questions and we will answer them right after the presentation. And we are recording this session, and you will receive the recording and the presentation tomorrow. So Andy and Daniel, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Romana. So also a warm welcome from my side to our webinar, Know Your Customers with Financial Risk Information with our partner, Serrala. We have prepared following agenda for you this morning. So we will start with a short introduction about DNB and Serrala. Then we will jump into the solution, DNB Direct Plus Connect. As well as a third topic, we will go more into the process or how the solution can support you in the order to cash process. And for sure, you are interested in a demo to have a look and feel. So this will be our fourth topic. And in the end, a wrap up, also including the Q&A session. So let's start with the intro. First, to my person. As Romana said, I'm Daniel Schneider. I'm since 8 years now with DNB. I'm a senior business consultant based in Switzerland. And usually I will, or one of my consulting colleagues will support you during a project with Serrala. About DNB, you see here some numbers. So we are already 183 years in the market. We have more than 6,000 employees globally. And important number is also our offices. You see that we are located in 190 countries. This is important for us to be close to the customer, but also to be close to the data. So to really make sure that we have the correct local data. And one of our skills, of course, or our main business is to have data. And as you can see here, we have more than 500 million companies in our database. Actually, meanwhile, we are already at 570 million of companies is our database. And this is our core business to provide our customers with correct data of companies. So, Andy, I will hand over to you.
Oh, sure. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Andy Büch, nice for having me. As solution evangelist, I'm spreading the good news about Serrala, about our products. Again, thanks for inviting me. Working with Serrala for quite some time, actually, 18 years now, and active in the specifically ERP, SAP space for nearly 30 years. We at Serrala, we do provide software solutions, services around the CFO's office. So everything around accounts receivable, accounts payable, as well as payments in secure manner on insecure channels is provided, is supported by us. We do have a more than 40 years experience in that area. More than 800 team members. The number just increased significantly because we just acquired a company in the US. We are HG Capital controlled or backed more than 2,500 customers across the globe. And yes, we do as well are present in several countries, not 190 yet, but there are many hubs around EMEA, India, and Europe. Our head office is based in Hamburg, Germany. Yeah, and speaking about the CFO's office and task and digitize the finance process or processes, those are several reasons why we got inspired to do so. As you might know, and probably most of those challenges are well known to you as well. There are a lot of changes currently on the market from a technical point of view, as well as from a business point of view. There are cost constraints, there are time constraints, and there might be several ways out of it. One of it is to digitize your financial or your CFO's office, to take care and to make sure that whatever is currently, appearing as a kind of pain point, if it is visibility, if it is the ongoing automation request, if it is changing or changes in your infrastructure, like a very common pain point these days is move in an SAP world from ECC to S/4HANA. It is data that is required to make sure that AI and machine learning application and approaches can be set up correctly. And that won't work without data, because usually a company's data itself isn't sufficient to do so. So there are many, again, reasons, many pain points and many challenges you are currently faced to. That is the motivation. That is actually the trigger why we build solutions in ERP solutions as well as cloud solutions to be ERP agnostic.
Thank you, Andy. So let's talk about DNB Direct plus Connect.
Yeah, great. Shall I go through?
Yes,
that definitely makes sense. So DNB provides, as you have heard already, and as you will see on the next slides, a very useful, valid data. It doesn't make sense having the data in a separate format, in a separate tool, deal with system breaches and so on. That's why we, at some point, actually already 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, decided to integrate DNB's data into an SAP system. SAP ECC back then, now it is S/4HANA. We do support both. However, the functional scope is the same. So what we do support, and before we're gonna have a look on the data, let's have a look on the processes. We do support the entire process of requesting and getting data in a structured format, as well as in a PDF or HTML format. We use this information in follow-up proceedings or processes. We do monitor the risk and risk characteristics. And by doing this, we ensure that at any point in time, you have accurate data, that you do your decisions on those actual data, and that you get supported by the system to a high degree to make sure that if there is any change, you automatically get informed and notified by a system or by your colleagues.
Yeah, then have some words about DNB data. As you can see here, and as I mentioned before, we have now 570 million companies in our database, and all these data are stored structured in our data cloud. And also important to mention is that each company has an allocated DUNS number, which stays within the company for lifetime. So this is then our unique identifier or the live business identity to start with the DUNS number, because this is allocated to a company, and to this company to this DUNS number, we then allocate multiple kind of data, which you will see in the next slides. And how can you pull our data. So we have two different ways. You can pull the data via probably the most known online tool. You go in the web browser, you have access to DNB, and then you can pull the data for the company. Or, and this is coming more and more popular, with the API or a direct integration directly into your ERP or CRM to have the data really immediately in your system. And of course, and that's why we are here, the API is also integrated into the Direct Plus connector of Serrala. Often we are asked, because the title is Financial Risk Information, how do we get and how do we score the companies? So here you can see we have so many parameters or data points, which then in the end provide a score. They are influencing our scorecard, and our scorecard is always a prediction of probability of default for the next 12 months. So you can see I pick up a few, like legal form has influence, or the industry, and as well, of course, also the employee number, is because it determines also the size of the company. And if available, of course, also the financials. But important to mention is not only the financials are influencing the score or the probability of default of a company. As you can see, there are also other variables or parameters. And of course, all these data points you will also see in our reports, not only the scoring. That's why I will jump a bit more into detail, and it's probably a bit overloaded slide, but important to mention here, DNB, we do now have so-called data blocks. So all these here are blocks. And that means a couple of years ago, you always had to pull a full report. Now you can do a sort of cherry picking. If you are only interested in company information, so for the address, if the company is still active, which industry code, or the number of employees, you can focus on this data block, and you don't need all the other data blocks. But of course, for a risk assessment, this wouldn't be sufficient. If you need scores and ratings, this would be in here, or even credit limit recommendation. So you can really see that you have the choice of picking different blocks and also levels. Me as a consultant and also my consulting colleagues would support you, of course, which blocks and levels are relevant for your use case. But here, important to mention, all these blocks and levels are currently integrated into the Direct Plus Connect from Serrala. So, Andy, then I will again hand over to you.
Yeah, fair enough. And let's probably spend some seconds at least on, or some minutes maybe, on what DNB Direct Plus is, or the Direct Plus Connect is, sorry. Direct Plus Connect is our solution to be implemented as an on-premise solution, as an add-on to your SAP infrastructure. Regardless if it is ECC or S4HANA, it is of course fully certified by SAP. We are a strong partner of SAP anyway. So we provide an additional package to your SAP standard to enhance the connectivity to DNB. And in the past, we were supporting all those different products like the business information report or the enterprise management. And we changed it to the new data blocks as well. Why? Because it's not only about getting different data, right, Daniel? There is a different price to it as well. So it might be very interesting to you guys. And we follow this route in several actually means, or in several aspects. First of all, getting the right data and getting the right data elements is useful in different processes. In, let's say, know your customer onboarding process, you probably just want to get or ensure the address details plus some risk indicators. In a regular automatic ongoing monitoring or assessment, you probably want to get information like employees or more risk data as well. Whereas, and that's an important part today as well, in, let's say, a collection process or dispute process, you're rather interested into payment experiences. So those information will be used in a targeted manner now with the D&B Direct Plus Connect. That is, again, an add-on to your SAP environment that gets connected to the D&B API in a secure manner. If there is any IT in the room, yes, we do support all those different middlewares. There is a secure communication. Of course, again, fully certified and supported by SAP. I just listed up some SAP systems we do support, and probably the most important ones. I know some of you are still on ECC, on SAP ERP 6.0 something, but many are already moving to S4HANA or moved to S4HANA already down to 2302. So we are certified again, and the version itself, the SAP version itself, is not that important anymore. Let's go further on, the order to cash process. Yeah. So, and that's what I tried to say already on the previous slide. Now, since we get very targeted data, we can use them in different purposes or in different processes. Yes, of course, credit and risk management is still the most important one. So to support your customer onboarding process, to do risk assessment, credit limit application approvals, to make sure that you can probably build a kind of financial statement index, or if credit insurance is something you need to take care of, there might be to be in a discretionary part, you might need to get an external credit agency information as well. So those things are supported by our solution for quite some while, and D&B is a very important topic in our credit and risk solution. However, and that's something I try to cover today as well, collections and dispute might definitely use or might need this information as well. As an example, if you really want to trigger a legal case, an external legal case with court or lawyers, you definitely need to have the real and the correct data. You need to have the perfect address and names. If you want to decide automatically on a specific collection strategy, like how to approach a customer, how much time and money do you want to spend in the collection process? How much tolerance do you want to accept? Shall we send one letter and a second letter and a third dunning letter? Or shall we hand it over to an external collector immediately? Because it's quite obvious that the customer won't pay, is not able to pay or not willing to pay. This is something you can achieve to a certain extent automatically. We do have some clever logic to do so. And this, again, is only based on characteristics, on KPIs. And KPIs are facts that you can achieve from your own data, of course, your own payment experiences and your own things. However, this specific debtor might pay you good, still pay you in a good manner because you're probably his A supplier. But there might be problems with other supplier, and this is something you won't get from your own data. That's where you need external information. That's where you need D&B's information, like a risk score, like change in a financial statement, to make sure that your collection strategy and the way how to approach a customer and when is actually managed in a right manner. Yeah, so we do not only support master data, onboarding, or risk and limit monitoring. No, with D&B Direct Plus, we do support the entire collection order to cash cycle, so including dispute and collections as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
then let's
that's
jump
what I thought,
into the
right?
demo.
There is no other slide. Let's probably have a look into the system, into a system. Since, again, there are quite a lot of people, that's absolutely great. I tried to cover both SAP ECC as well as S4HANA. And let me release my screen shortly. All right. And let's probably start with the SAP ECC side of life. So you might still use the SAP GUI. That's absolutely fine. And as you can see on the left-hand side in my specific menu, in our demo system, we installed or use quite a lot of our products. As an example, FS2 Credit is our credit and risk solution that supports our customer with credit management, with limit application approval, that supports our customer with credit insurance management and financial statement analysis. On the other hand, there is FS2 Collections Dispute that is rather covering the in-house legal collection space up to value adjustment, debt management, dispute deduction management. And D&B Direct Plus is an additional module that is incorporated in all those solutions. And let's probably start with Direct Plus Connect, because you can install and use this as a standalone module as well. If you just want to search for companies, if you just want to fetch, inquire data, and if you want to use them either in the SAP standard, if you want to hand it over to the SAP business partner or to the credit management account data, ECC, KNKK, you are aware, right? So let's, I don't know, there are different options. Let's probably start and look for a company first of all. So there are two different options. You can either inquire a prospect. So let's say you don't have a master data record yet, you haven't created a business partner yet, and you want to make sure before creating it that it is a valid customer or valid company. Let's put it that way. So in that case, you would probably inquire a prospect. And as soon as you click the button, you can fill in your company's details, like a name and maybe a city, maybe a country as well, and start looking for the company. You get some further details, can inquire a product, and probably create a master data record from here. That's just one example. Let's do it the other way around. Let's say there is a master data record already, and we just want to get all the details D&B provides us in different data packages. So let's inquire a partner, and guess what? I already created a partner in my SAP system earlier today, business partner 162. So standard SAP functionality, search help is supported here as well. And once I continue, it automatically fetches the data from my SAP system, from my SAP master data, and fills in the details automatically. I could still change this if data is missing, or if I want to get more hits, I could even, let's say, delete the street. Why not? It's a good example. And just look for the company's name and the corresponding city plus the zip code. So find companies, the first point in time wherein connectivity to D&B's API is established. And as you're going to see in seconds, you're going to receive the results. So this information, those hits are delivered by D&B. The search logic and hit matching rate logic, that's something that is D&B's USP. It's working perfectly great. It is quick, as you can see. Why is Deutsche Bahn in there? Well, at least the street and the city is identical, and that might be the reason, right? However, it will be easy to distinguish and easy to decide that this is the company we are looking for. And let's indeed start getting a product. So we're going to select this and we inquire it. If the company wouldn't have been in the list, happens, not very often, but it does, then we can even start an investigation, ask D&B to search for the company. Once the company has been found, you get feedback. It will be automatically loaded into your SAP system, and all follow-up processes will be triggered. But here, lucky us, it's a well-known company. It's a test company, to be honest. So I'm happy to share the details, and let's start the inquiry by getting this pop-up where you now can select the type of product you want to get. So every different data package, as well as every different sub-package or huge packages are available here. Since it is a company in Germany, I need at least to give some information on why do I want to get details. This is required by law. Let's say I definitely want to get a credit decision. I could put in some additional details, cost allocation, if we need a kind of internal cost distribution. And once you select this, the product gets achieved. Inquired, oh, that's great, perfect. There is an error message. That's what we love with live demos. Give me a second. What it does, it automatically fetches the product. Let me close this case then, no problem. We don't have that much time to lose, but it brings me into the situation to provide you the list of products and companies that I've achieved in the past. And let's select any of those, because in the end, it is the same. So I did the same this morning already, and it worked perfectly, of course, as an example for this company, where once I finished the company search, I automatically got the product's information. It's a different product, and maybe I can't show you today the different data packages and the different fields that we do support, because there is much more. This is just a, I don't know, this is just a master data record, I guess. So we do get some general information, like address information, but we do get rating information as well, the credit limit recommendation, payment behavior, how many employees, and some administrative data. This is the overview screen. However, on different tabs, currently there is just the company tab for the specific product, you get further details, like again, communication details, maybe there is branch and industry information, industry code information, and everything is kept in your SAP system, can be used by other solutions, by SAP standard, can be used by reporting engines, can be used by analytical engines or environments, and used further, like we do use it in our credit and collections space. And moreover, besides structured data, and again, there are many more tabs available, depends on the product, there is always a report tab as well that provides you with the PDF document, the original or accurate PDF document DMB created. So everything you might need to know that needs to be printed out, downloaded, to be discussed in a meeting, whatever is available here as well in different languages. This is currently English as visible. So you get this information as well as all updates as well, right? It might be that the company's data is changing over time. So in the past, you might have used the DMB portal to get there, get any updates, or maybe you got an email, even had to take care of everything that is related to it. That's something we do automatically as well. So once there is a change available, your SAP system, your DMB Direct Plus gets informed. It fetches all the data. It does all the checks and assessment, reassessment. And if there is any change, any significant change, any change you want to be informed about, the system will automatically trigger either a task, or it would send out a notification, an email. That's up to you. And that's something that we're going to set up in an implementation phase to make sure that the DMB's data is integrated tightly, seamlessly into your processes, and to make sure that the manual overload is reduced to an absolute minimum. Best case, no influence is required anymore. Yeah, DMB Connect at a glance. This information, on the other hand, and I mentioned it already, is now and can now be used in your risk or credit process. And let's probably have a look to our credit management solution. Just for one customer, maybe the same customer, because ACP seems to be a great fit for us today. Let me select one customer to give you an idea on how this data can now be used in your credit and risk process. In your credit management application, usually it is all about, defining the right limits. It's all about applying for new limits. It's about setting a risk score to make sure that your incoming orders will be checked, will be automatically blocked or unblocked if, let's say, the exposure hasn't been exceeded yet. So this is one of our example customer. It's customer 4, ACP IT Solutions, where we have got the DMB information in our DMB Direct Plus and this is reflected automatically into our credit and risk solution. Here's an example. We use the DNB rating, first of all, on a dashboard to give you a stomach feeling, as well as in the overall risk scoring. So DNB data, external data, is assessed, is measured against other KPIs like master data length of business relationship, or the average days past due, or payment experiences, or if there is internal information or collateral available. It gets assessed, measured, and in the end, you get a kind of insolvency score. There is a risk category linked to it, and that makes sure that whatever SAP does is linked and is controlled by those numbers. Yeah. There is, first of all, the risk score and the risk category, and in the second step, there is a limit allocated to it. Here it is $58,000 up to a specific date. But here as well, if you need a higher limit, you might ask for a credit limit request, for a credit limit increase. But DNB's data is used there as well to make sure that you can't exceed a specific amount, or if it is a new customer, that the initial credit limit will be derived from DNB's credit limit recommendation score, credit limit recommendation amount, sorry, or the score. So that's something we do according to your credit policy. So your credit policy actually is a mirror, or will be mirrored into our FS2 credit solution to make sure that you are absolutely compliant in a risk manner. Let's probably have a look let's have a second look to the collection side of life. And here, since some of you are on S4HANA already, let's move to an S4HANA environment, or let's move to the Fiori tiles. If you're not on S4HANA yet, some of those can be used in an ECC environment as well. But in general, once you move to S4HANA, you're going to move your user interface from the old SAP GUI to a SAP Fiori as well. So it's just a different way to present data. The idea of SAP is to allow users to use a standard browser to provide apps and overview screens that are more simplified, maybe more use-specific, implemented or activated. And this is, by the way, our collection management overview screen, where you get an overview over open disputes that might appear in your system, aging bucket list with changes over time. So you get an overview over your data, top 10 debtors. You can even categorize them by amount due, 30 days, 60 days overall. There is outstanding receivable breakdown by accounting clerk, as an example, by risk category, by collection strategy, so that there's different apps available. And here as well, to assign and to define the right collection strategy, we need DNB's data, because usually, again, your internal data isn't targeted or isn't accurate enough, because it just reflects your specific business with this customer or debtor, but it doesn't reflect all the other business cases or business collaborations. DNB does have this information by looking on the financial numbers, by looking on those characteristics Daniel went through, and we use this as an additional information, as an additional characteristic to make sure that the correct collection strategy per customer will be derived on one hand side. On the other hand, we might use this as well to prioritize your tasks. The more tasks, like in a dispute space, the more important it is to prioritize your task in a right manner, to ensure workload distribution, to make sure that your team is not overloaded. And that's something we achieve by a priority management, by a priority engine. And here as well, we take many different characteristics into account, like a country, like, the industry, but DNB's data as well. And many of those data is delivered by DNB anyway. And that helps you to navigate you through your day. So as a collector, cash collector, I would probably start my day on the screen, would just check, okay, what is the system recommending? What is urgent? What is moderate? Let's have a look to the list of customer and items that are moderate. let's probably use any of my views that I created earlier today, like let's have a look on the Dunning perspective only. Let's probably have a look on the highest area. And that helps you navigating through your task and through your day. And okay, that's a good point. Let's talk about Markant today. So just on the click of a button, you get all the details, overdue trend, open items, how many disputes, promise to pay. At the second slide, second tab, we do see all the open items, and we can start actions and follow-up steps from here as well. We can talk to the customer. We could probably create a promise, a dispute. We could resend the invoice. So task-based orientation and prioritization, that's something where we use DMP's data that is connected to Direct Plus Connect as well. Yeah, Daniel, I think that was quite a lot of information. However, it looks nice, doesn't it? So I wanted to share it. And if there is any further question, if you want to see a more detailed demo just on credit, just on risk, just on D&B integration or on collection, let us know, let me know, and I'm happy to step in and to make sure that you get all the details that you need.
Good. Thank you, Andy. Always interesting. And for sure, it makes work life easier with such a solution. Fully agree. So then I will share my screen again. Here. And meanwhile, I'm sharing my screen. I just want to remind you that you can ask questions in the Q&A section. Feel free to ask them. So, yeah, we are already at the last agenda topic, the wrap up. Andy, would be good to hear something about how such a project will work and how long it will take for the implementation. This is always interesting for our.
It is. And actually, we did this kind of webinar in the DACH region already, and it was question number 1. And that's why we decided to add this slide to make sure that we are all on the same page. So you don't need to ask. Indeed, a software product like the D&B Direct Plus, and I'm just talking about Direct Plus, right? Implementing it is not a hell of work. We do provide a transport that needs to be imported. We might need some IT resource capabilities as well, but it is limited, right? Because there are things we can't do, like importing a transport, assigning authorizations, or setting up the RFC connectivity. That's something where we still need your IT team. And we might need in an implementation phase your business team as well to do tests or to give us some details. However, 95% of the project work is something we do, we take care of. And this is just an estimation. Usually it takes, let's say, up to 8 weeks to set up D&B Direct Plus Connect in an SAP system. We managed to do it in 2 weeks as well, from development to productive environment. It always depends on how urgent it is. And if your UAT or test phase might take longer, then it might be 10 weeks as well. But, you know, generally speaking, it is roughly 7-8 weeks to implement a solution, not from workload specific point, but from duration point.
Good. Yeah, and then I think we are almost done already. The last slide about improvement indicators, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. And here as well, it depends, of course, pretty much on the processes you want to establish, getting D&B's data, keeping and storing them, and ongoingly monitoring them by D&B Direct Plus is, of course, already a huge lever. If you decide to use a solution like credit management, our FS to credit, or collection management as well, we can even achieve higher rates. That's why, you know, it's quite vague from 33 to 75%. But there is no system breach anymore. Again, on the click of a button, as I've shown, you can select the customer, you can get all the details, and it will be incorporated and used in your credit management process. And again, very important as well, if there is any change reported by D&B, it will be read automatically and it will be fetched automatically, and it will trigger all the next steps automatically as well. So You don't really have to take care on a day-to-day basis on data changes or how to react on specific situations. That has direct impact, of course, on your liquidity, on your working capital. I think that's clear. I mean, reducing the people's workload, FTE reduction, minimum 24. Usually we achieve at least 30%. So that's clear, right? If you replace manual work by a digitized product or by a digitized process, it definitely helps you to focus on, let's say, the more value important task instead of, you know, searching for a company again, or, oh, there is a change. I maybe need to recalculate all my scores. Oh, the collection strategy needs to be changed. I'm writing or creating a dunning letter with Word, send it out. So the more process integration, the more digitalization, the more you're gonna save on resources. And again, as you might have probably felt as well, the more accurate and the quicker you talk to a customer, you're gonna have exchange to adapter, the more likely they will pay as well, right? If you send out always in the same manner, dunning letter 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, there are some customer who are used to it, who exactly know, okay, there will be a third dunning letter, so why should I pay at the second? It is important to change your processes automatically as well, to make sure that the debtor's philosophy or the debtor's mood will be taken into account as well. And yeah, that's one of those reasons as well, besides, yeah, transparency, obligations, mainly in the credit insurance space, right? If you're working with a credit insurer, you have to deliver your obligations. You have to deliver non-payments or a turnover and other KPIs automatically. This is something you can achieve by manual work, yeah, easily over days. But let's say you're going to use an Serrala FS2 credit solution. Just press the button, DNB's data will be read, the obligation, the reports will be created automatically and sent out to the credit insurer, and all is done. So you're going to save out of the box 3-4 days per month.
Great. So, as mentioned before, we are almost at the end. So I'm looking at Romana, if there are probably some questions.
Or... Yes, we have several questions, but before we answer your questions, we would kindly ask you to answer our short survey. You see the QR code and you just scan it with your mobile phone, and I promise it will just take a minute, but will help us to adapt our webinars to your expectations in the future. Okay, and yeah, for my internal colleagues, this survey is just for our external guests and customers, so give me your feedback directly after the webinar. Happy to hear from you. The first question, will there be or has there already been a screening of companies on sanction lists implemented somewhere?
Yeah, good point, Daniel. You do provide sanction lists, right? And data as well. Please move on.
Yeah, from DNB side, we do provide such products or solutions. Now for Serrala, I think the aim was in a first step to focus on financial risk and not on compliance, but from DNB side, we do provide such solutions.
Does the tool work with AI?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, difficult answer. Let's put it that way. As you might know, AI has different aspects. There is AI light that is rather rule-based. There is, you know, strong AI that is machine learning and ChatGPT based. And we do both. It really depends on the task. It really depends on where you want to use it. Fetching data from DNB doesn't use any AI, doesn't make sense. It's a connectivity to DNB, right? And fetching data. But at some point you want to decide on, as you have seen in my demo as well, you want to decide and calculate the risk score. You want to make sure that the credit limit gets calculated automatically. That's AI already. That's that's rather rule-based. On the other hand, let's say if you send out, you derive a collection strategy, you send out a communication to the customer, and the customer sends back feedback or sends back a letter, email, whatever, reading this information and making sure that you get the right information from those correspondences and even the mood of a customer to make sure that the system interacts in a perfect manner, that's where our machine learning ChatGPT will be used. So it depends on the task, it depends on the solution, and we absolutely do the whole range of AI. But again, the DMP Direct Plus is a connector. So it fetches data, it automatically receives data, it informs users. There isn't that much AI required. In credit, yes, we do. In FS2 collections, even more.
Mm-hmm. What is the contractual situation, individual contracts with Serrala and DMP, or a contract for the complete package?
Shall I go ahead?
Yeah.
So it's typically two contracts. So you do a contract with Serrala for the DNB Direct Plus Connect or even the FS2 credit. And with DNB, it's then purely for the data. So we then will have on DNB side, the negotiation regarding your data, the deepness of your data, what's, as you saw in my slide, which kind of data blocks do you need, and the pricing DNB about data, one contract, and one contract with Serrala for the software and for the implementation.
Mm-hmm. How are the prices for the DMP data calculated?
Okay, this is again a question to me. So in the end, I can't provide you now a price because we need it is three different based on three different factors. One is the volume. As more customer you have in your portfolio, of course, the price will decrease. Secondly, it's the data deepness. So do you need the full package as shown in my slide, or you just need a few data blocks? And the third one is then the region. Are your customers in Europe or in the rest of the world? This has also an impact in the pricing. So these three factors do impact the price.
Mm-hmm. At the moment, we have no more questions left, but if you have further questions after the webinar, please connect with our two experts via LinkedIn or send them an email. They are happy to help you. And as mentioned earlier, you will receive the recording and the presentation tomorrow. So thanks again, Andy and Daniel, for your insights, and thank you all for joining, and maybe see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.